M-I-Z-Z-A-H. It's the show about Mizzah Tee. It's the show about Mizzah Tee. Hey fools, Mizzah Tee here with a video that I hope will explore not only the depths of what it is to be a Nintendo fan, but also what it means to be a gamer. But this video was brought on by a request by my good buddy Dr. Feelgood, fellow member of the Gamers at Large. He thought it would be a good idea to do a video about why I'm a Nintendo fan. So shout out to him for the great idea, and I think it's an excellent topic, and one I'll later be holding a roundtable discussion on in the form of a Tea Talk podcast. So stay tuned for that. But now, let's talk about my Nintendo fandom. So although I was a fan of the NES when it came out, that was only because it was the most popular thing out there and everybody had one. Back then, instead of fools asking if you were playing video games, they would ask you if you played Nintendo. In the 80s, the two were synonymous. Sure, Nintendo games were amazing, from Super Mario Bros. To Zelda to Metroid, but I was a young kid and I couldn't yet fully appreciate them games for what they were. Of course, there were other consoles on the market like the Atari 5200 and 7800, as well as the Sega Master System, but those consoles were pretty niche and drowned out by the virtual monopoly and dominant stranglehold over video games that Nintendo had in those days. I got an Atari 5200 for my birthday during the NES era, but only because it was dirt cheap, and my mom, being a gamer herself, was very familiar with the Atari. Honestly, I think she bought me that thing so she could play it. Fools. But it was clear in those days that the Nintendo Entertainment System was king, and I wanted one because it was so damn popular. It wasn't until the Super Nintendo that I began to really appreciate Nintendo games. I didn't really get my NES until 1990, a year after Genesis launched. Until then, I shared an NES with my cousins. Back then, we all lived in my grandmother's large house with a few of my aunts and uncles. My mama T moved out, and for my birthday that year, she brought me a Sega Genesis. And that Christmas is when I got my first NES. It was then that Mizzah Tee became a Sega fanboy. I was all in on that Genesis does what Nintendo marketing. Owning a Genesis and an NES, I could clearly see the difference in power that the 16-bit blast processing brought to the Genesis. At that point, Nintendo was whack, and it was all about the big boy Genesis. So by the time the SNES launched, I was all in on my Genesis with games like Shadow Dancer, Altered Beast, Streets of Rage, and so on and so forth. I had moved on from Nintendo, and in my mind, it was something I did when I was a kid. I was a big boy now. So I would play the NES from time to time, but my Sega Genesis got most of my gaming time. But then, later that year, I finally got a hold of Super Mario Bros. 3 for my NES. I remember getting chills watching this commercial for it.
Mario! 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 Mario!
He's back. All you had to do was ask. Super Mario Bros. 3 from Nintendo. Now you're playing with power.
But I just didn't have the money at the time to get it until late 1990. Even though it was so similar, it was also so innovative as well. Here you have an Italian plumber who rocks out to calypso music, and a leaf power-up would turn him into a raccoon, and that raccoon could fly. Mario could fly. No longer did the levels just run into each other. Now you were given a world map where you could see the world, play mini games, collect power-ups, and locate secret whistles throughout that world to warp you to even more amazing worlds. The frog suit made swimming a breeze, and Karibo's shoe allowed you to traverse dangers that could kill you instantly. And that rare Tanuki suit allowed you to fly as well, but also avoid enemies by turning into a weird-looking statue. That game was just so damn inventive, innovative, and charming. That was when I started to appreciate Nintendo games for the masterpieces they were. My mom didn't get around to getting me my SNES until my birthday in the summer of '93, roughly a year and a half after the Super Nintendo launched, and about 3.5 years after Genesis launched, I think. I immediately got my hands on the equally amazing Super Mario World, as it came with the system, Super Street Fighter 2, and of course, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, arguably my favorite game of all time, with only Ocarina of Time as its rival. And then by the time I got Super Metroid, I was a full-on Nintendo fan who appreciated the mastery of their games. The attention to detail, the looks, the controls, engaging and vibrant worlds, techniques just unmatched by its competitors. All factors that made me enjoy their games the most. Their mascot's richness, quirkiness, and iconicness. There is just something special about their approach to games. It's almost magic. Honestly, the only other companies that made me feel something similar about their games is Sega being one, but they forgot what made them great, I think, as the 90s came to an end. And the other company, Rareware, had games that also gave me that euphoric feeling when I played the likes of Donkey Kong Country, Banjo-Kazooie, Jet Force Gemini, and of course, GoldenEye and Perfect Dark. But that Rare is long gone. I'm just a huge fan of Nintendo characters, their philosophy when it comes to game making, and how they approach the industry. Their fan service, the durability of their hardware, their innovations, their stubbornness at times, their desire to move the industry forward through controls and gameplay innovations as opposed to features and the horsepower race. Nintendo made me a gamer, and nothing will ever change that. Alright FOOS, that does it for my personal reasons for why I'm a Nintendo fan. I can go on and on as to why, but honestly, just watching my channel, you'll see me do videos about Nintendo games of the past, present, and future that will better explain that than words can. Because on my channel, unlike a lot of fools who do this in this community, I spend most of my time making videos about what I like. Because Mizzah Tee is motivated by his Nintendo fandom and positivity to continue making videos about gaming. What I like excites me and motivates me more than whining about what I don't like. And you fools seem to respond well to that. So as I said, I'll be doing a Tee Talk podcast, incorporating other Nintendo fans, discussing why they're Nintendo fans as well. I'm really looking forward to that, and I hope you are too. Give me some reasons why you're a Nintendo fan in the comment section below. I'd really like to know what gets you fools excited about Nintendo. And if you haven't already, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and share with other Nintendo fans. And please, join the Facebook community, NFC, Nintendo Fight Clubbers. Friend me or follow me on Wii U or Nintendo 3DS. And you can follow me on Twitter if you like. Links below. Thank you for watching, fools. See you next time. Oh yeah, one more thing. Play Nintendo, fools.